Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Let's just wait 1 or 2 more minutes in case we get some extras joining after the lunch, but we'll start fairly shortly. If you want to say where you are from in the chat, then please feel free to do so. Be nice to know uh, the location of some of you today. Right, let's get going. And so again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. I notice from the list of attendees here online, there is a mixture of existing members and people that I haven't seen or heard about before. So welcome, especially to those who are here for the first time in a UASHI event. My name is John Edwards. I'm the Secretary General of UASHI. I'm joined here with a couple of members of the team, Mathilde Clavelli, who is the communications and events manager, and Maya Moroshki, who's the executive manager of the association. So here we are. We are having a membership webinar, and this idea is for those of you who are members who still don't fully understand what we do or want to get involved in more of activities, then you can find out the latest, let's say. And for others who are considering to become a member of UASHI, to decide whether it's worth it and whether it's something that could help you and your institution. So if you would start the presentation, please, Mathilde. Yeah, here we go. So it's getting the most from your UASHI membership. And just as an introduction to begin with, so here we go. This is the welcome from me. This is the program for the webinar today, and we'll take a maximum an hour. It could be less. Okay? Just in terms of your interaction, if you can say anything in the chat or ask questions, and I believe you can, if you would like to speak, you can. Mathilde would have to give you permission. You can do that later. So what we're going to do first, though, is I'm going to tell you, in case you don't know, what is UASHI, and then we're going to have a couple of member testimonials too. And in between then, I will tell you about what we do into the policy, membership services, and finally, there will be some information on, how you could join UASHI, let's say the procedures to do so, if that's what you're thinking about. So, yeah, let's start. The European Association for the Applied Sciences and Higher Education, I guess the name says it, but we would describe ourselves as the voice of applied universities in Europe. That's because there are a variety of names for our members. University of Applied Sciences is let's say, the most common name for a UASHI member, but it's not the only name. And if I could go to the next slide, Mathilde, you'll see what I mean. Um, they're just example of the different names. There you go, Saxion University of Applied Science in the Netherlands to UAS, and we have Piet van Hoof as one of the your testimonials today from Thomas More UAS. Because they may have their different names in their own languages, but that's sort of one of the most internationally recognized name. However, even Europe, there are other names of institutions that are similar to University of Applied Sciences or the same. And examples of that is the Polytechnic universities in Portugal. That's where we had our annual conference this year. Technological universities in Ireland, and Lorna Walsh will give you a testimonial today too. And then also the growing number of dual higher education institutions that exist in Europe and around the world, actually. And this one of them, for example, there is a member, is the Duale Hochschule in Baden-Württemberg. I guess, what do they all have in common? This is what we would say. They have a commitment to excellence in applied and professional higher education, world-leading practices and outcomes. They're place-based, they're connected to their citizen regions, often do applied research with local SMEs and the civil society in the region where they're from. It doesn't mean that they don't have an international outlook, but I would say they connect the international outlook really to where they are based and rooted in. Delivering talent and skills for industry, public services, and the regional priorities. This is becoming something very important now in European policy. But also commitment to supporting social diversity. So a lot of the institutions have been able to expand participation in higher education, which is very important, not only for the individuals concerned, but also for the labour market. So these are the type of institutions, and often called University of Applied Sciences. However, in different countries, the higher education systems are organised in different ways, and that's one of the things that we struggle with in Europe. We struggle, but it's also a strength that there is such diversity between the European countries, and it's the same with the higher education systems. And so there are countries where they don't have different types of institutions to do professional applied higher education. They are integrated into universities, comprehensive universities. But of course, they're still delivering the same type of courses, doing the same type of research engagement with the communities, but perhaps in separate departments. And an example of that is France. And I think if you can see that in this slide now, one of our members is Aix-Marseille University. Next slide, please, Mathilde. I think we have a picture of it. Because Aix-Marseille University is a large university in France, almost 100,000 students. Does all types of higher education, from the most theoretical to the most applied. Aix-Marseille University joined EURASHE because they have a strong commitment to the south of France, the PACA, Provence, Alpes d'Huez region, where they wanted to use the knowledge and the network we have in EURASHE to help the local labour market to develop. And that's why we work with all types of universities. We had a seminar in Aix-Marseille, and they're especially interested in skills. You have the Union of Skills in Europe now that is going to be a major policy, I think, for many years, with a lot of funding also tied to it. And I think, it's interesting that all types of universities are realizing the importance of skills and not just knowledge. This is a quote from the president of Aix-Marseille. For a long time, universities were considered responsible for energy knowledge and nothing else. This is no longer the case. And I think this is where EURASHE comes in. It's a lot about knowledge dissemination, absorption in the communities, and not just about knowledge generation. Anyway, that is, let's say, who EURASHE represents. Where are we? Well, I would say we're all over the place, and I've got a map, I think, here. We are in more than 30 countries in the European education, but also further afield. mean, you can see the neighborhood here, but there is also we also have members in India and two more about to come in who have applied for membership. One from Canada, which is Polytechnic, Humber Polytechnic in Canada and in Hong Kong. So I mean, we have a global membership, but of course it's a European association. I think the recent expansion of the membership internationally also shows, though, how this type of higher education is relevant and important for all countries and all regions of the world. There are associations of higher education institutions that are members, and of course they therefore represent many of their institutions in their countries as well as individual members. So we have 92 members, but we actually represent over 500 institutions, both full members from in Europe, affiliate from outside, and also associate members, because associate members are not higher education institutions, but they support our mission and they work with us, whether it's ed tech or industry relations. They maybe do other things that we work with as associate members. So next slide. And I'm going to pass over very shortly to one of our members, Pete, and then for his testimonial. So I won't spend a long time on the strategy, but of course we do have a strategy. I think that when you look at the type of thematic priorities we do, you'll understand what UASHI has. But I should say that we're in the moment of developing a new strategy because this one's about to finish. But next slide, please. Very briefly, what do we do then? We're going to talk to you about some of the membership services, but when it comes to policy, right, so we represent our members in policy. There are, let's say, 3 areas, and that's the trend now in Europe is have areas, and then you may have funding programs coming into them. First area is the European Higher Education Area, is the oldest one, the Bologna process, and we're part of that with our partners in the E4 group for the Bologna follow-up group. And that includes, for example, the revision of the standards and guidelines for quality assurance that are currently being revised. A consultative member in the EHEA. Next slide. European Education Area, while education is a competence of the member states principally, in fact, European Education Area is becoming quite important in itself. The EU is the next slide. In the European Union, mainly because of funding. The weight of the Erasmus Plus program has increased significantly in recent years, and we can see these things like the European University Alliances, Centre for Vocational Excellence. So, and there are working groups that UASHI is involved in terms of shaping some of these policy and funding developments. A non-funding aspect, for example, is the European degree. So although we don't have a competence for higher education at EU level, there is a move to have a transnational degree. And there is funding, though, because there's going to be a call soon for it to pilot it. But anyway, the next slide, the final one. So have the European Higher Education Area, so it's bigger than the EU, the European Education Area, and the European Research Area, which is something that has become stakeholder-led. Well, let's say stakeholder co-led process with the member states recently, even though it's more than 20 years old. And we are a stakeholder in that ERA forum with the member states. Says here that we're a member of Access to Excellence Working Group, also sponsor the structural policy on higher education institutions in the new policy agenda of the European Research Area Forum. So the next slide, and my last for now. We're going to do the community practice first, are we? Indeed, before we go on. It's actually a good one to do, because we have Lorna here with us, who is hosting a meeting of the research community practice in her institution in TUS later on in October. She's a co-leader of this community along with other members. You can see we also have ones on quality assurance and skills, support from the Secretariat, but are co-led by members. Members, they're only for members, but you can easily access those via the Connect platform that I think Mathilde is going to tell you about now.
Yeah, thank you, John. So as John said, my name is Matilda. I'm the Communications and Events Manager for EURASHI. And basically in June, I believe this year, we introduced this new platform, internal platform, which we called EURASHI Connect. And it is accessible only to members. And it's a place ideally where people can share and work with each other and share, like I said, posts and events. And I will just give you a quick walkthrough for you to get an idea of what's possible on this platform. This is the main interface when you log in. And then as you navigate the platform, you can participate in groups. For example, you can join the 3 communities of practice that John has just mentioned, the research, quality assurance, and skills community of practice. And then in the groups, you can, for example, post comments, post documents. You can have a conversation with other members of the group. You can work together, share files, and so on, for you to coordinate your work. On the same platform, we also post articles, for example, on the latest updates in the higher education sector, updates from the European Commission or the European Research Area, or funding opportunities, calls that are open, calls, deadlines, and so on. And this is all accessible to our members. We also post about upcoming events. For example, here you can see, well, today's webinar, we have another webinar on Monday, and so on. And so through the platform, you can also navigate things that are happening at EURASHI, but not only, because we also post about interesting conferences that are happening in Brussels as well as abroad. And on that, so Connect is obviously a platform where you can link up with EURASHI members, but it's not the only platform, because we also have our annual conference, which next year is going to happen in June 2026 in Amsterdam, hosted by our member, Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences. And this is a conference that we usually have once a year, usually at the beginning of the summer. It's always hosted by a member of EURASHI. So that's also a way for you, for your institution to, for example, gain visibility, to get involved with the community, to showcase the work that your institution is doing, and to welcome also the higher education community to your home and to show them what you're doing. We usually have an audience of around 200 people. And this includes people from the EURASHI community, but not only, includes people from the higher education sector, European Union policymakers, and also local policymakers from other countries. So like I said, the next conference is in Amsterdam next year on the theme of research and innovation in applied universities. And I welcome you all to stay tuned we're going to send out the save the date soon. So put that in your calendar already, and I hope to see you in Amsterdam. And I think I'm now going to pass it over to Pete, who's going to give us just a little brief Pete is actually a new member of EURASHI. They joined, I believe, a few months ago with his institution, Thomas More University of Applied Sciences. So Pete, the floor is yours. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thank you, Matilda. I will start sharing. So you see my slide now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So yes, my testimonial, as Matilda and John mentioned, might be more about the reasons why we decided to join EURASHI, more than our actual experience within EURASHI. But let me first start by telling you a few words about who we are as an institution. My name is Piet van Hove. I actually just joined Thomas More University of Applied Sciences exactly a year ago. And I have a previous life working in the University of Antwerp for 25 years, working on internationalization. And after 25 years, I was finally ready to graduate and start working with universities of applied sciences. So that was a nice step for me. But first, a few words about my current institution, Thomas More University of Applied Sciences. We're located in Flanders, Belgium, and more specifically across the province of Antwerp. We have several campuses in different towns in the province of Antwerp. These are the towns, as you can see, some of them very small. I have to say there are two there I've never personally been to, so much to explore. These are some key facts and figures. We are the largest University of Applied Sciences in Flanders, so with 22,000 students, many different nationalities. We are quite international. That's part of our identity. 1,800 staff members, and we guarantee an international experience to all of our students. We also focus on research and innovation. We have about 250 full-time researchers in our staff and 7 different research centers. These are our main areas of work, both for education and research. You see it's quite varied, and I think quite typical areas that universities of applied sciences are engaging with. Now, the reason I started working for Thomas More is because Thomas More is now the coordinating institution of one of the latest European Universities Alliances that started this year, the Heroes Alliance. And that's an alliance that consists of 9, well, I would say 9 universities of applied sciences, but of course, as John mentioned, it has slightly different meaning in different countries. 9 partners, 9 different countries, 120 students altogether. And we focus, our main theme in the Alliance is smart regional resilience. So we focus on the link to our regions and how we can empower the regions, the people, the businesses, but also nature in those regions to be more resilient in these tumultuous times. These are our 9 full members. We do also have some associated members, but these are the 9 full members of our alliance. I'm sure you recognize some of them. Some of them are active EURASHI members in themselves. Now transitioning to our reasons for joining EURASHI, I wanted to start, I always like on Friday afternoon, I'd like to include an inspirational quote in my presentations. So we have John F. Kennedy with a quote that you've surely often heard, but we also have our own John Edwards, and who will say, ask not what EURASHI can do for you, but what you can do for EURASHI. And I think that's a very important way to look at things, because I have a past with membership associations. I was the president of quite a big association, the EAIE. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about what associations mean and should be. And it's first and foremost a community, I think. And a community is something you get what you give. It's up to you to engage with the community and to make the most of it and to get rewarding experiences within that community. And as John mentioned, EURASHI is uniquely placed to be the voice of universities of applied sciences and to also shape the narrative on what higher education means, what universities of applied sciences specifically bring to higher education. And to me, I think it's a responsibility to be part of that conversation and to be part of shaping that conversation. And I think the strength of EURASHI is that on the one hand, it has that unique position of being in very important conversations in the Bologna process, the European research area, to have a privileged position there, while still being an agile organization that has very short communication lines. All of the members can get directly involved in communities of practice, be directly involved in shaping ideas and future policies, and so to have direct influence on what will happen in our sector. And it's a key time in higher education, I think. There's crisis all around us, so we are also in many countries in situations of budget cuts. Governments are asking for more accountability, proving impact of what we do. So I think that only increases the need to get to come together within our sector of applied higher education, and to think together about how we can prove that impact and show the unique contribution we can make. And I just want to go, I will not keep you much longer, but I just want to show you a little bit what that can mean. This is a picture from the recent EAIE conference, where Heroes Alliance shared a booth with 3 other what we call applied alliances. So universities, European universities alliances, consisting mostly or entirely of universities of applied sciences. So there are 3 sister alliances, UDRES, EU4Dual, and Eureka. Were sharing a booth with us. There's a couple of others that also fit in that family of alliances. But we use these taglines there that we brainstormed about, and I think they are indicative of the kind of thing, kind of common profile that we can develop as universities of applied sciences and applied alliances. So it's stressing that direct connection to society, basically. So collaborating for a better today. We often, research-intensive universities talk about tomorrow. I think we are much more directly in touch with society and impacting not only tomorrow, but also today. And having that direct line from our labs or whatever, classrooms and research facilities, direct links, and that's also the meaning of the lines to society. Many stakeholders in societies. We have in our regions very direct links to much more diverse stakeholders than maybe some of more traditional research-intensive universities. Just another example of something I did recently together with John is write an article for the EAIE Forum magazine on the specific profile of applied alliances. So this is just one way that I'm already trying to get involved in developing ideas in our community. And I think that's something that's possible for everyone to engage in if you are or want to become a member of EURASHE. I think I'll leave it there for now. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Pete. And I mean, I think that main point about what you put in, you get more out, is very important, the most important thing you can say. And that's because, we're actually not looking for lots of new members. And that's not the point. We're looking for members who wish to engage. We've actually had quite a large membership growth recently. And what's important for us is to have, if it's not, for example, the cost of EURASHE membership, which is not that high, much higher is the salary of your salaries. Let's say that you or people in your institutions who are tasked to engage in EURASHE. And that's, what you need to consider if you're thinking of joining EURASHE, is how much time you can put in to it. Of course, you'll get information feeds, and that may be in itself a reason to join, but I think you'll get the most out of it if you engage with our different activities. And perhaps that's a good way of just very briefly talking about some of the benefits, Mathilde. We've spoken about some of these. I'm not going to continue. I mean, when it comes to things like policy, and I introduced those different groups, what I didn't say is that members not only inform what we do in those places, but are actually involved as well. The ERA Forum is a good example, and there's several different actions and structural policies in the current policy agenda. And we have Mona from Metropolia, who is in the citizen science action. We have Julia from St. Pölten in Austria, who is in the research careers action representing EURASHE. And we have Leon in research management. There's really an opportunity if you wish to be involved in influencing policy. I think of course, the more members we can have, more active members, is that we can raise the profile of applied sciences, and that's what that will help everybody. But of course, we understand that you're looking in it for something for your institution, and we help you to promote your institution. You know, you'll have your own profile on our web page, and we will, around all the events that we do, we make sure. I mean, a good example is the good practice that we are about to start communicating. We had a call over the summer for good practice, and you're going to start seeing every week a new good practice from one of our members on social media, and a collection that we're going to publish and share in an event with the commission later on, once we have all the good practice in. So, you know, promoting yourselves, meeting people, in getting into networks, whether that's for project funding or for learning. This is what an association is about. Perhaps your own personal learning and career development is important. You know, not everybody can be in the board. Of course, we have an election, but it's an opportunity, if you wish to be really involved, to actually join the board itself. There are other opportunities there, like leading core groups of community of practice, and other sort of individual opportunities. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about that. We can go on to the next slide. I think Maya will tell you what the different categories of membership are and how you would apply if you wish to join.
Hello, as John presented me, I'm Maya Momirovska. I work as an executive officer at Eurasia, but I'm also responsible for the membership of Eurasia and for the application procedure. So as you can see, Eurasia has 3 different membership categories depending on the profile of the organization. The full membership is open for the national associations and individual higher education institutions that are part of the European higher education area. The affiliate membership is for the institutions and associations outside of the EHA, or for those who may not meet all the criteria for the full memberships, but would still like to engage and connect with Eurasia. And the associate membership is for the legal entities that are not higher education institutions, but share our goals in applied higher education, and wish to support our work. This way, we make sure that the institutions, organizations, and even partners from outside the EHA can all find their place within our network. The next slide, please, Mathilde. About the application procedure, when it comes for applying, the process is very straightforward. We ask the institutions to provide 3 basic elements, which are the application form, the proof of the legal existence, and for the full members, also the evidence of external quality assurance. What is important to highlight is that the applications are examined by the board every month, so there is no long waiting period. And once the membership fee is paid, the membership becomes effective. And to be fair, the fee for the first year is calculated on the pro rata basis, which is depending on when the institutions are joining. So the next slide is I'm passing the floor to Lorna Walsh, which is Director of Research Support Services from the Technological University of the Shannon, who is a member of our TIA, who is the national who is a national association and full member of Eurasia.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen if that's okay. I hope it's coming through. It looks like it is on my side. Can you see it okay?
Not yet.
No. It looks like it's there. I hope
Yeah,
it is.
It's coming now.
Super.
It's loading.
Well, look, while it's loading, I just wanted to say thank you to Eurasia for having me to present my university here today. And very interesting to hear Pete speak about his university as well. So there's never an event that I haven't gone to with Urashi where I haven't got something from it. And today is no different. It's really good to see and hear about other universities and what they're doing. So as you can see, I'm Lorna Walsh. I'm from Technological University of the Shannon. I'm the Director of Research Supports here. So we're an Irish university. So we're called a technological university. So as John said earlier, there are all different types of applied. So in Ireland, we're called technological universities. So very similar to the universities of applied science. So just in terms of TUS, you can see over here in the circle, we're based out in Ireland. So we're an island off an island. So it's always great to collaborate with European partners. We have 7 campuses. We kind of straddle the Midlands and the Midwest of Ireland. We have 7 research institutes. So we kind of go across right from the hard sciences over all the ways to social sciences and kind of art, design, etc., and sustainability. So just kind of a quick snapshot of what we look like there. And as you can see, here's the map. You'll see we're we've 2 kind of more main campuses, one in Athlone and one in Limerick. And then we have other satellites that go around that. We're across 2 regions and 4 counties. We have approximately 15,000 students, of which 1,800 are international students. And as you can see there, we have about just shy of 1,500 staff. And we have an annual research budget in the region of about 23 million. So very much engaged on European funding and working on European projects with collaborations. And I suppose one of the things that really encouraged us to be part of Urashi was the opportunity to network within that cooperation of universities of applied science. I've been very fortunate to attend the kickoff meeting, I suppose, for the community of applied science in terms of the research community of practice in Fulda. I think that was back in 2022 when meetings started to go back in person. So I was very fortunate to go and meet the team there, and that really encouraged me to get involved in hearing about other partners and what they were doing and the opportunities to engage. And from there, we had another meeting. Following on from that, our next in-person meeting was May 2024, where we went to Vilnius, and I see where Vico is a partner on the Heroes with Pete and his university as well. So it's lovely to see those connections. And at that university meeting, I made contact there with one of the Maltese Universities of Applied Science, MCAST, and we developed a collaboration out of that, just funded through our own national funds, but working towards, I suppose, with the intention of developing a European funding project. So, as Pete said, I suppose it's what you put in is what you get out. So you can go along to meetings and you can just listen and kind of come away from it, but you're really not going to get that much from it. And I suppose that's the case with anything in life. So it requires for you to engage and kind of put yourself out there, network within the group, and actually make a contribution. So I'm very fortunate to be this year co-chairing the research community of practice with some great colleagues. So Leon in Saxion and Nicole in Vico is still there to guide us in that from her experience of having done so in the previous years. So absolutely very excited and delighted to be welcoming the community of practice to Athlone, albeit it might be very windy and wet. We have Storm Amy here today, but it's still a lovely place to go. So we're going to very excited about welcoming the community of practice in here for an in-person meeting. So if anyone hasn't signed up, please do. There'll be lots of discussions in Athlone all around research management, about European projects, looking at European funding, also around the whole area of, there's going to be discussion groups around the JRC and others. So it's a great time to actually get that opportunity to come and actually meet in person, meet other colleagues from across Europe who are in universities of applied science who probably have the same issues that you have every day in your work, and figure out kind of great ways to understand how, you know, potential collaborations and solutions to everyday problems that we all meet. So I suppose also, not only did I have the opportunity of engaging in Eurache on so many levels, but also our Vice President for Research, Development and Innovation, Dr. Liam Brown, he sits on the board, just as John mentioned earlier. You can also be on the board of Eurache. So Liam, who's over to the second on the left there as you look at it, he is has been re-elected to the board again in 25 this year until 27. So it's another level, I suppose, of engagement, and it gets us very much engaged on what's going on within Eurache and the policies coming through Europe, and how we can, as a University of Applied Science, engage in that. And I suppose being in Ireland, as I showed you on that map, we are an island off an island. We can be very remote, I suppose, sometimes here, but yet very much in the centre of things. And that's through organisations like Eurache, and putting ourselves out there to try and get involved and be part of greater networks and opportunities that they bring. So I've probably given you a whistle-stop tour. I was conscious I had a time that I had to work within, but I can't talk highly enough of the opportunity that we've had in Eurache. And I suppose that really is down to putting in energy and time into it. It doesn't happen by sitting back. So I would encourage you to get involved, and like John said, make a meaningful involvement when you do sign up, and make use of your membership cost, because obviously your return on investment for your university, excuse me, would be great if you can do that. So I'll be definitely looking at Pete and his university up after today. Very excited to see some of the slides that he presented. So it'll be another opportunity to link in again with you, Rashi. So that's it for me. If anyone has any questions, delighted to take them. Sorry, I felt I was looking to the left, but my slides were on a different screen. I just couldn't get them to move on to the one in front of me. So apologies.
Thank you, Lorna, for your testimonial. I don't know if there's if John, you want to say some closing words, or if not, we just open the floor for questions if anybody has any. But John, you're muted.
If there is a question, of course we can answer it. I will, and then I'll close the webinar.
As I said, if you wish to speak, you just need to raise your hand, and then you will be allowed to talk.
Yeah. Oh, also put chat.
Mm.
If there's no questions, it means that we are very very clear in what we're doing. As one just come in, how do you relate to US for Europe? Yeah, okay, I can take that. So US for Europe is let's say, an informal network working on research policy in Europe, and we are our partners, and we perhaps spoke to them this morning about potential joint statements for the new multi-annual financial framework. They are a group only of associations that have individual members, like Eurache does, and they're from 6 or 7 countries. Let's say that which have University of Applied Sciences, and I don't think they have countries where they maybe call other things like polytechnic universities or technological universities and things. But it's a group, an informal network we work closely with. Yes, so that I think could be the only question. But anyway, any other questions that you may have after this webinar, be very welcome to to send us an email. When we organise Brussels visits for members, can we cooperate with Urashi? Yes, that's from Marin. So of course you can. I mean, we are your, let's say, home in Brussels, and we're very happy to introduce you to people in Brussels if you need ideas on who to meet, and we can host you as well. We can host your events, your meetings in Brussels. We're about to change our office. We're going to be in a new office from the 1st of December in the EU district. That's quite exciting. So yes, is the answer, Marin? QA Conference Sophia. So it's a meeting of the community of practice. It's not a conference. It's a bit like the community of practice event in Ireland. So they are the community practices are first and foremost online communities in the Connect platform, and have online meetings to talk about how we progress in the different areas. But I would say once or twice a year at the most, we would have an event organised by the community practice, and they're actually open to anybody, not just members. But still, they're fairly small events, 30 people or so, and there is one on the quality organised by the quality assurance COP in Sofia. You're right, coming up in October. I believe there is a link already online with a registration form. Can you members join us? Yeah, of course. I mean, you can, if you remember, you can. I said even non-members can join the in-person events. But if you're a new member, just also join on Connect into the community.
I think, John, we missed one question, which was, can other providers, example companies providing micro-credential programs, apply for a full memberships?
Not for full membership. It's associate membership. Would be for if they're not higher education institutions. So we are an association for higher education institutions, but we realise that higher education is changing quite quickly. So we don't want to predict what will happen in the future. But for now, those type of providers can join as associate members. Right. Well, if there's no other questions, thank you for joining. We also record this. We do this once a year, and it's just to be open to let's say new members who wish to explore the possibility. But things are changing, and it's also good for existing members to if you haven't picked up on some of the new activities and the way we're organising ourselves to hear again, and we hope you get more involved. And so anyway, please send it in. We're very happy. I'm personally very happy to speak to your leadership if that's an issue that came up. Often it can come down to that anytime, and of course hope to see you at an event, either you actually organise or another event in the future. So let's close the webinar now, and thank you very much, I would say, to Pete and Lorna for your contributions. Thank you for the colleagues, and see you soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
See you
Take care.
soon. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.